MovieWeb.com.
With this Amir character, he seems very complex, and I had a little bit of a problem relating to some of the stuff he does in an early age. And I'm wondering, was it a challenge to make him empathetic in the film as opposed to how he comes across in the book?
I think it's all related to casting, obviously. It was already, from the beginning on when I read the book, I thought it's really key who plays older Amir, because you know, as a child you connect with Amir, and then, but it was very important that you keep connecting with him as the story unfolds. And I think Khaled Abdallah, when I saw him, I thought was really truthfully would be able to capture Amir and would be able to portray him, because he's and you also would feel, you know, the sort of that shadow he's carrying with him from the past. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the boy Zakaria who plays Amir does a, I mean, it's a difficult role to play, because you're asked to play somebody who's doing some morally, you know, reprehensible things, but at the same time has to be somebody that doesn't strike you as just kind of this irredeemable person. And I think there's something about him that is vulnerable. That when you see him, you're not just repulsed by him, but you know you don't agree with the things he's doing, but at the same time you kind of want to be protective of him, and you feel for him. So I think Zakaria really does a good job of pulling that off.
Now, were you happy with the film version of your novel after seeing it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm very proud of it. I mean, I think this is not only for me, it's a moment of personal pride, but I think also for my community. I mean, this is the first time there's a story about Afghanistan. There's all of these Afghan actors with the indigenous language being spoken, and a film that is getting a lot of attention. So it's a very, very significant moment for us.
From what I understand, you were on the set a lot. I'm wondering what the collaboration between the two of you was on the actual set of the film.
No, I mean, on the set, I was basically there as an observer. I was on the set 2 weeks in China. They took months to shoot the film, but I was on the set for 2 weeks, and basically as an observer, and Marc was kind enough to allow me to observe.
And I always saw, you know, Khaled sort of as for me as a culture advisor, because I don't know the culture, and it was very important for me right from the get-go to really understand the culture and get the details. And Khaled was really sort of that springboard for me to really get into that and understand that. And sort of I always knew I could fall back to him if I would feel insecure about something, or I had questions about specific clothing in the 70s in Kabul, and those details that I always could go back to Khaled to ask him and be advised.
How did you shoot a lot of the kite scenes? I'm wondering about that, because those are great scenes in the film. I'm wondering how you accomplished a lot of that.
We shot, you know, the kites itself is sort of a mixture of visual effects, some kite plates, we had a little helicam where we shot like certain kite moves in the air, and then basically visual effects recreated the kite in the foreground. The kites on the ground are all real. Like basically the kids, the strings were attached to certain cables, so it would you know, we could imitate a kite fight, that they were able to move the strings and be able to fly a kite. And so there were different things going on in different occasions, but we basically had a kite master who choreographed the kite fight and showed me how to attack and retreat, and we had a little computer model how we want to choreograph the entire fight, and then worked it out from there.
Well, in the film, being a writer is almost dishonorable. I'm wondering if you've ever run into that in your career. I mean, that feeling like you're doing something that goes against the culture.
I don't get the sense that that the writing is dishonorable. I think it's not the most the safest profession if you want to be financially stable. And I think the father character worries about his son when he says, "I don't want to be a doctor, I want to be a writer." Well, if he's a doctor, you know, he's going to be financially, professionally stable for life. As a writer, you know, there's no safety net. So I think it's just the natural worries of a father. But writing in that culture is not dishonorable at all. In fact, it's revered.